Sup guys, this is Beast Coast Arturo Sanchez, aka NYC Furby, aka Sabin here. I'm back here with another video, and today we'll be talking about one of my personal favorite Street Fighters of all time, Street Fighter Alpha 3. Keeper Security is the leading cybersecurity platform for protecting individuals, families, and business against password-related cyber attacks, aka hacks. These attacks can lead to identity theft, financial loss, and reputational damage. Experts predict that cybercriminals will increasingly target the gaming industry over the next 3 years. With Keeper, you can create strong, unique passwords for every account where you log in, but keep them safely stored in your own encrypted vault. Visit keeper.io/beastcoast and use the promo code BEASTCOAST, all caps, for a 30% off promo code. Stay safe out there, guys. Right? Now, let me tell you about the lore a little bit. And I made sure to fact check some things, get my story straight. Because, even though I lived the era, it was over 20 years ago. So, I just had to double check to make sure I had some important details, right? So anyway, guys, let me tell you, a little bit about Alpha 3 here. Alpha 3, it's a game that came out in 1998. And it was the peak, it was the pinnacle of Capcom versus the CPS hardware. The Capcom Play System hardware, right? It's called the CPS2, right? And that arcade board powered a lot of games. Powered Marvel vs. Capcom 1, all the Street Fighter Alphas, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, another game that's really played today, even to this day, right? And when the game came out, it was ported to multiple systems. Obviously it came out in arcade first. It got a revision in the arcades called Alpha 3 Upper. It was released on PlayStation, Saturn, and PSP, and some of the versions got got some upgrades. The PSP version had Ingrid in it, who's not a commonly known character in the Capcom lore. So some of the other versions actually was released on PlayStation 2 as well as part of the Street Fighter Alpha collection. There's a mode in that game called Hyper Street Fighter Alpha, right, which kind of gets crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the lore and the series. So anyway, as you guys obviously know, it was the third game. It was the third game in the Street Fighter Alpha series. Alpha 1 came out in the mid '90s, 95, kind of like a '95 something like that. It was pretty much unfinished. Characters were sharing the same backgrounds. It was only it was 12 characters, something like that. It was a pretty small roster. Alpha 2, however, is more of a finished game. They had a complete roster. Everybody had their own stage. It started to have its own combo system, the custom combo system. And Alpha 3, it was kind of like a dream match type game where they tried to put in modes from all the other Street Fighter games into this game. For example, there's 3 separate ways to use a meter. There is that you can select by default. There is Xism, which is the classic Street Fighter 2 style of movement, even down to the supers. So you have one super bar like Super Turbo. You cannot air block, but your guard meter is huge, and you do a lot of damage. Aism is kind of like a traditional Street Fighter Alpha type series, meaning you have air block, you have 3 bars, you have access to an Alpha counter. Alpha counter is when you block and you can do a counter attack, right? And you have access to a level 1, level 2, and level 3, so it's kind of like the traditional style. And then we have Vism, which kind of defines this game. It is the custom combo mode where you can pretty much freestyle, and if you know the right setup, you can pretty much do whatever you want, right? But it's also, but as you can tell, already by me explaining those 3 modes, it is definitely kind of a overwhelming game. Just the barrier of entry to get in is pretty difficult because there's a lot of knowledge to learn. There's a lot of things to learn about the game. It was one of the first games where you had multiple air recoveries. You see that in a lot of anime games, like Guilty Gear and a lot of the Arc System Works games, where you get hit in the air, you press a button to recover. That all came from Street Fighter Alpha. So in Street Fighter Alpha, you can actually get juggled, and you can actually air recover. You could also mash to reduce damage, right? So all these little sorts of quirks and things that were really cool about the series, right? So here, I'm gonna show you a little bit about the lore and some of the early tournaments for the game. The game is still competitively played today, and it's to the point, obviously, a game that's been played for 20 years or more, is definitely matured. Definitely matured. But there was a lot of history, with these types of games. Since internet was around, but like it wasn't really mainstream yet as far as like video consumption and footage were concerned. There's no YouTube or anything like that, right? So in order for us to get footage, we would hear about it through IRC chat rooms. We would hear about it through Usenet, right? Like things like Alt Games SF2, where a place people would get a lot of the info. There was also like a Pound Capcom channel on FNet IRC, where a lot of the players would talk and discuss strategies and stuff. But it was really hard to share video. To give you a context of what I'm about to show you, it's like in order to get these VHS tapes, you had to know somebody out online that would send you a third generation or fourth generation copy. So by the time you got it, it would be a little bit corrupt, but you can see what was happening, right? You can see what was happening. All right, so we're gonna take you guys down memory lane for a bit. The first video we're gonna be showing is from the Street Fighter Alpha 3 National Tournament, right? So just a little bit here, like about the lore, guys. So this game was so popular. This game is so popular that Capcom ran a Japanese national tournament for the game, right? And like you guys think FGC tournaments are large. This tournament I'm showing you guys had 10,000 entrants. 10,000 entrants. Like look at that line right there. I'm showing the line of the people playing like for the Japanese qualifier. Look at that. That venue is packed. And like Capcom, I guess Capcom funded all this because they have like a whole TV studio and production. But it's still like in the letterbox 4x3 style in 1990, 1998, 1999, man. And like the footage we're seeing here, these are from like the different Alpha 3 regional qualifying tournaments. Look at that stuff. Like you love to see it. Like brand new candy cabinets. They have the head-to-head going. They try to tell you like a whole story behind the whole thing, and like I think that's awesome, right? So this is pretty much like a whole like a 1 hour documentary like about what happened in the Alpha 3 Nationals, right? So the long story short of it is this, right? They had like 10,000 people like in the tournaments, multiple qualifiers across Japan, right? Then eventually there was a playoff between all of the qualifying champions. Some of them I'm sure you can see right here. The long story short is that Daigo Umehara, he actually won the Japanese qualifier, right? So that's amazing. Even back then, like he was winning 10,000 person tournaments. That's insane. But it gets even better. Wouldn't just be enough to just have like a Japanese national champion, right? So let me tell you about the lore again for a little bit. So like there was also an American qualifier, right? It was an American qualifier for the Alpha 3 national tournament, and the winner of that would actually fight Daigo Umehara. And like this is when I was like 16. I was like 16, so I just started traveling to tournaments, stuff like that. Like I would always read about the scene on like Usenet and like and IRC, but I was like, oh man, I'm too young to go. Right? So I was getting like really sad, right? Because like there were all these dope tournaments. Like, look at this. Look at the footage I'm sharing right now. Look, they're playing on a huge ass Titantron. Like, it looks like Tokyo Game Show or something, right? Insane. The whole room is packed, and they have like a big Titantron showing Alpha 3. You love to see it, man. Like, because people thought like gaming wasn't big like that. I mean, gaming was definitely big. It's just that the infrastructure of streaming and sharing footage over the net wasn't quite there yet. But as you guys can see, this is a very sick post-produced production. Considering it's all the way in the late 90s, right? They're like the whole MC on deck and everything, right? And like they're going through the list of champions here. But yeah, shout outs to Capcom for doing that, right? And anyway, the lore kind of goes like this. Oh, look at that. We finally get a look at young Daigo. Look at that. Look at young Daigo right there. Amazing. Wow, he's like 40 now. We're all like 40. Man, man, looking back at this old footage is really a treat. It's really something, to see the original devs, like, talking about the game, like, really getting into the lore. They even have like a cabinet there in the background while they're really trying to take it serious. All right, so this is the part that I'm talking about with the lore. It would be better here, if I just narrate with you guys, right? So, again, Japanese national champion Daigo. They bring like their whole like TV studio, over to the U.S. in San Francisco, where they have the playoffs, right? You can see like they're just introducing what happened, right? and they show like a little bit of SF. They show Daigo being in the U.S. for the first time. This is so awesome, guys. Like, it's something that we see in tournaments a lot these days, but it's back then. Seeing this was a luxury. And look at this. Look at this. You see the whole arcade here, right here. Like, the tournament was ran by Jason Wilson, one of the legendary TOs back in the day, and they're all playing on American cabinets. And guess what? Street Fighter Alpha 3. Look at that, right? Then Daigo walks in for the first time. It's the Alpha 3 World Championships, U.S. versus Japan. They have a Japanese cabinet right there, so that Daigo can play. Because obviously there's a control difference. You can see right there, Alex Valle is playing Graham Wolf, all right, like another legendary old school player, right? I believe Graham Wolf got second in the qualifying tournament, and there it is. You see the pop off, you see the hug. Everything exchanging hands. Wow, there's so many faces I recognize in the background because I've been around for so long. Alex is like, "What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm the best. I'm the best." So they start hyping it up here. Like, Alex is like, "Yeah, I'm Alex Valle. I'm the fucking best." Right? and pretty much they're all talking about. I think because I have seen this footage several times back in the day. Just like how you guys feed over YouTube. I was feeding over these VHS tapes, and I think they were talking about the lines of how like it was going to be a good match, right? So I'm just going to fast forward to the footage right here. You can see them playing here on a head-to-head setup, right? And I think it's first to 3 rounds, and I think what these matches came down to was that the footsies were solid, but obviously Japan was on another level, right? Japan always in these games tends to be on another level, right? They have access to the games, the footage, the frame data, all that. So they were showing things that were not necessarily possible before. But you can see right here, Alex is putting up a fight. It's not free at all. Oh man, look at this. Yeah. Look at this. His reactions are on point. Like, he's definitely getting some games in. Interesting thing about this Alpha 3 National Tournament, it was 3 out of 5. Right? It was 3 out of 5 rounds. 3 out of 5 rounds, right? So that definitely changes the meter management and meter system game, because with this type of game, in Alpha 3 you start with 100 meter from the start, right? So you can go crazy like from the beginning. You can do all your ham combos from the second it says fight. Right, so 3 out of 5, definitely makes the meter game a little bit different. And Alex is up 1. You can see it from the footage. They don't show you the whole match. It's like an edited down version, but you can see that Alex actually won the first match. Like he's definitely putting the pressure on Daigo. You can see right here, like he's up around in the second game. Wow, nice air throw. So yeah, like this game is definitely defined by Vism. As you can see how liberal they are with the activation. It's such a powerful tactic. Basically create your own combo. So Alex was actually up 2 rounds and a game over Daigo. He was doing really well. So it's not like it was free. Oh yeah, like that's actually an unblockable setup he did. So Akuma is one of the best characters in the game. Like, his Vism is just really good. He has cheap unblockable setups. Look at that. And this is still like once again, this is early life Alpha 3, right? So the combos are not fleshed out like how they are today, but it was definitely my point of showing you guys this, showing you how popular it was back then. Even though it was not an esports era, they had like huge tournaments for the game, and like there was definitely like a lot of lore. This is where Daigo came from. This is like where Daigo first really got famous. But anyway, yeah. Right now, this match is 1-1. Right, pretty close though. Like I said again, it's coming down to the wire. Like both like all the games. Shout out to the production team too. The production team is doing an amazing job getting all the shots and all the hype, even though it's like obviously 240p video here on YouTube. But it's really amazing that we can see this, because this really gets me nostalgic and brings me back, because the current FGC definitely has it pretty good now with events and content creation and everything, and it wasn't always like this, People really played for the love of the game. Wow, Daigo. Wow, what a setup right there. Man, this is still pretty close. It's still 1-1. Daigo's starting to break away a little bit though. Like he is up by a round, but Vi's coming back strong. Nice air grab punish there on the air grab. Wow, he's going crazy with the air grabs. They're really having a conversation. Talk to me. All right, corner pressure. Via's in. That's hard to block. Doesn't get the whole thing though. Vi still looking really good. Up. That's it. Yeah, that setup is. Woof. Can't really do much about that setup right there. So you can see, look at even on the American side, the crowd is packed. Daigo just won the tournament. He won it 2-1. Vi won the first game. Daigo won the second and third games. Last game was 3 rounds to 1. Right? It was a pretty close match. I think Vi got an Alpha 3 cabinet for winning. And this was still, this was still really cool. It was one of the earlier cross-cultural exchanges, for fighting games and Street Fighter. That's the beautiful thing about fighting games, man. Like you can have a conversation with somebody, regardless of a language barrier or whatever. Like I just think that's so freaking cool. Look at Daigo with this with this red blazer. Oh man, he looks so young there, and that's the homie Jason Wilson giving him the trophy. Oh man, he looks so young there too. Oh my goodness. Look at that cool statue he got. That's such a trip down memory lane. Awesome. You love to see it. So anyway, guys, so with Alpha 3, right, we had a couple of tournaments for it back in the day. The game series went all the way up until, I think it was alive until maybe 2001 when Capcom vs. SNK 2 came out, and then the game started dying down, for a bit. Time passed. During this era, it's weird how things change, right? Because the way things changed was Alpha 3 was kind of forgotten about. People started saying it was too hard. The game obviously transpired over the last couple of years, right? To where it had crazy infinites, right? And a really high level tech where if you're in the right win conditions and you get the right setup, you're dead. You're definitely dead, right? But the good thing about it is thanks to Fightcade and a lot of the modern games, a lot of the modern platforms, this game's been seeing a little bit of a resurgence, right? I just want to give a shout out to some of the homies that are still doing events today. First off, shout out to the boy Rizwan. You can check him out at Super Lore Boys on Twitter. Right, he be doing a lot of retro events that actually be co-streaming him with. What you guys seeing right now, you're seeing a tournament I co-stream with them. You see the Beast Coast logo. It's actually pretty modern, right? We actually have monthly or bi-monthly Alpha 3 tournaments, right? But we had to wean the community into it, because people were scared because the skill gap is so large these days, right? So we had to do an all Xism tournament, an all Aism tournament, and then an all Vism only tournament to finally wean people in. But a lot of people are starting to realize how sick this game is, right? Alpha 3, I'm definitely happy with the state of it in 2021. Having a lot of online events, as I mentioned, Match Reno and the crowd funds are popping off. So it's never been a better time to really get into these games, man. I implore all of you to check out Fightcade today, and definitely try to get into the scene if you want. There's always players on for this game. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to talk to you about the early Alpha 3 tournaments, and explain to you that the hype back then wasn't that much different from what it was today. Just the infrastructure was not there. And anyway, guys, let me know what you guys thought in the comments. like, subscribe, and all that. Let me know if you like it, and let me know your thoughts about Alpha 3. I think it's a really sick and an underrated game. You guys should all check it out, and it definitely rewards the time that you put in. Anyway, guys, Beast Coast Arturo Sanchez, we out. Hope you guys enjoyed.